E aí, pessoal, tudo bem? In this video, we'll be breaking down a few clips in Portuguese of UFC legend José Aldo. We're going to see him describe his fighting style, as well as hear him talk about his fight with Conor McGregor.
Eu amo jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu é minha casa. Eu gosto de treinar, eu gosto de competir jiu-jitsu. Mas eu lutar MMA, eu prefiro a trocação.
So first he says, eu amo jiu-jitsu. I love jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu é minha casa. Jiu-jitsu is my home.
Eu amo jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu é minha casa.
Eu gosto de treinar. I like to train. Eu gosto de competir jiu-jitsu. I like to compete jiu-jitsu.
Eu gosto de treinar, eu gosto de competir jiu-jitsu.
Mas eu lutar MMA, but me fighting MMA, eu prefiro a trocação. I prefer striking.
Mas eu lutar MMA, eu prefiro a trocação.
Now, trocação is a word that's specific to MMA. So it's not something that you'll see in your traditional Portuguese dictionary. It comes from the verb trocar, which means to exchange.
Eu vou manter em pé. A gente vai tentar ganhar em pé.
He says, eu vou manter em pé. I'm going to keep it standing. You'll notice that in Portuguese, at least in the spoken language, the it is implied. So literally, he's saying, eu vou manter, I'm going to keep em pé, on feet or standing.
Eu vou manter em pé.
Then he says, a gente vai tentar ganhar em pé. We're going to try to win standing.
A gente vai tentar ganhar em pé.
A gente literally means the people and is the colloquial way of saying we.
A gente vai sair na mão. Um dos dois vai cair.
Then he goes, a gente vai sair na mão. We're going to throw down. Sair na mão literally means to leave in the hand, which makes absolutely no sense in English, but it basically means to throw down in the sense of fighting or exchanging blows. This is something you'll hear MMA fighters say a lot in interviews.
A gente vai sair na mão.
Dos dois, one of the two, as in one of us, vai cair, is going to fall or go down. Dos dois vai cair. One of us is going down.
Um dos dois vai cair.
Now let's take a look at a clip of him talking about Conor McGregor, their fight, as well as the lead up to the fight.
Chato pra caralho.
Chato pra cara.
Porra pra caraca, chato. Porra, cara chato pra caralho.
So first he says Conor was chato pra caralho. Annoying AF.
Chato pra caralho.
Chato pra cara.
Porra
And then he goes, chato pra caraca.
pra caraca, chato. Porra, cara chato pra caralho.
So, pra caraca is a super common expression in Rio, and it's basically a euphemism for pra caralho, which is basically the Portuguese equivalent of AF.
Subestimou ele, Aldo, ou não?
Nenhum momento, cara. Jamais ninguém.
Now the interviewer asks him about the actual fight, which he lost by knockout to McGregor. He asked Aldo, subestimou ele, Aldo, ou não? The verb subestimar means to underestimate. So, subestimou ele ou não? Is him asking, did you underestimate him or not?
Subestimou ele, Aldo, ou não?
Then Aldo says, nenhum momento. But usually you'd say, em nenhum momento, in no moment. Jamais, never, ninguém, nobody.
Nenhum momento, cara. Jamais ninguém.
In English, you might say something like, not even for a minute. I've never underestimated anyone, ever.
Foi
Aconteceu.
mérito dele.
Mérito
dele.
And then he goes, foi mérito dele. Literally, it was his merit.
Foi
Aconteceu.
mérito dele.
Mérito
dele.
An English-speaking fighter might say something like, fair play to him or hats off to him, as in, you know what, it was just a good shot, credit to him.
Quanto tempo tu levou pra entender? Fui nocauteado.
Na hora.
Sério?
Na hora.
Then the interviewer asks him, quanto tempo tu levou pra entender fui nocauteado? How long did you take or did it take you to realize I got knocked out? Notice how he uses tu here instead of você. In Rio, you'll hear people use tu interchangeably with você.
Quanto tempo tu levou pra entender? Fui nocauteado.
Then Aldo says, na hora,
Na hora.
Sério?
Na hora.
literally at the time, as in right away or right in that moment.
Eu sempre botei na minha mente, eu nunca posso ver as luzes de cabeça pra baixo.
Olhou o
Que-
refletor, fudeu.
Exatamente, eu sei que eu tô fudido.
He explains, eu sempre botei na minha mente. Literally, I've always put it in my mind, as in, I've always told myself. The verb botar is just an informal way of saying to put. Eu nunca posso ver as luzes. I can never see the lights de cabeça para baixo, upside down, or in this context, facing up.
Essa eu sempre botei na minha mente. Eu nunca posso ver as luzes de cabeça para baixo.
So he's saying he realized that he got knocked out right away because he was looking straight up at the lights, which he's always told himself that he can never do. And then the interviewer says, olhou o refletor, fudeu. Once you've looked at the spotlights, you're screwed or you're effed.
Olhou o refletor, fudeu.
This is an example of how the preterite tense is used in Portuguese to express this idea of once you've in English. In this case, olhou by itself is used to mean once you've looked at. And then fudeu is the past tense of the verb foder, which is used like the F word in English and is the origin of a lot of bad words in Portuguese. In this case, it means you're screwed, as in, once you're looking up at the spotlights, you're effed. It's over. You're done. And then Aldo says, exatamente, exactly. Eu sei que eu tô fudido. I know that I'm screwed.
Exatamente, eu sei que eu tô fudido.
So, estou fudido means I'm effed. Now, the es in estou is usually dropped in casual speech, which is why he says tô. And then fudido is the past participle of foder, which we just saw. Since tô fudido is pretty crude, you'll also hear people say tô ferrado when they want to sound a bit less vulgar.
Seria irado.
Muito irado.
Then the conversation turned to them talking about the possibility of him facing Conor in a boxing match. And the interviewer says, seria irado. That would be dope. And then Aldo says, muito irado. Really dope.
Seria irado.
Muito irado.
Irado literally means angry, but you'll hear a lot of people, especially young guys, use it to say that something is dope or badass or lit. If you enjoyed this video, remember to hit like and watch the other videos in this series. Obrigado e até a próxima. Tchau.